Alright. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is my 100 subscriber special. I hope it's pretty special, and sorry this came out so late. So, I'm just gonna say enjoy, and looks like it's already started. Okay, so I have to do voiceovers because I've got this big, complicated problem with my microphone broke at the really wrong time because I can't really get it fixed. So, uh, this is a new editing app, so I could have minor mistakes in this, but for now, I am using a coping saw to cut out my shape. Okay, enjoy. I don't know why, but a piece of wood decided to attack you guys right here. And there you go. Not very friendly. Alright, and so here what I'm doing is I'm taking the knife after I cut it out with the coping saw and trying to carve out those tool saw edges and make it smoother. So I'm just kind of, I don't know what I could call it, but yeah, not too necessary. And now I am filing that down to make it even better and remove any extra material I had in the first place. So yeah, that's pretty much just it. And so here, I tried to look all fancy and get all measury and measure out all the stuff just to make it better. But you know, I didn't actually. I just made it look like I was doing that because the width of that wood was some ridiculous random width that nobody would ever know about. So I was like, and just guessed it. So uh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, okay. And here, you may have noticed I sawed out those lines I drew. This is making the fins, and so I am now taking a chisel, and as you can see, I'm just chipping away at it, and it gives it that fin look. So yeah, that's just how that's done. And um, oh, this is the bottom fin I'm doing. It's in a slightly different way, so that I'll show you that. Okay, this is difficult. This whole voiceover thing. So all right, and so this here is a pretty important step. This is uh, cutting the joint. I'm not going to go all the way. This is just getting it started. And so I just have a piece of wood that I cut at an angle, and I clamped it in the vise with the bait, and then I just clamp the saw in between those pieces of wood, and it keeps it at that angle, and it works pretty well, just like that. Oh, and yes, that's me, and I got a haircut, so nothing more to be said about that. And this is already drawing out the top profile. So now I'm cutting out those lines I drew. So yeah, that's good. And here we are already sanding our fishing lure, getting those taper. Not gonna get back into that. That was anyway. Yeah, we're getting that all nice and smooth and preparing to round off the bait, which will happen shortly. In terms of rounding off your fishing lure, it's pretty straightforward. You find all your edges slash corners and you carve on them. Matter of fact, yeah, that's what you do. You carve on the edges to make it round. Okay, that was painful, but it needed to be said. So, uh, all right, and this is the sanding part. I am hand sanding all those edges we rounded off, and I even have those strips of sandpaper that you can, um, I don't know, that's like a belt, and uh, I don't know, you just like rub it back and forth, and it makes it really round. But it looks like here we are drawing out where we're gonna carve out the spines, fin spines, something like that. So yeah, how that works is you draw it out and you take a knife, preferably a sharp one, and you score along it. And then after you've done that, you carve along to where you've scored. So the scoring really just makes sure you don't go past where you want it to. It's like a defense line, I guess you could say. So yeah, you can see how it's done there, and it's pretty much done everywhere else like that on the gills and on the fins. So that's all that needs to be said. And so for me, probably my biggest problem with making fishing lures, especially larger ones like this one, this is large for me, very large, is getting enough or weight into them just in general. Like most bait makers, they've got a lead pot and a drill press or something like that. I have to do this kind of something like the old-fashioned way. So I have a chisel here, and I'm chiseling out a nice big gouge. You could pretty much call that into my fishing lure, and I am going to uh, later shove a sizable sinker weight. Preferably, I try not to use lead. I do not think this is lead. What I'm going to use because it's not quite dense enough. Oh yeah, there it is. You can see it in the where I'm putting the baking soda. Yeah, now putting baking soda over it, because baking soda and super glue mixes to create a very strong cover, you could call it. It holds up well and looks pretty cool. Looks like there's gold in there actually. So yeah, and now I'm finishing cutting the joint. A little super glue got in there, so it was hard at first, but it went through. And after that, all you need to do really is start drilling the holes, which I should start doing anytime now. Looks pretty good right there. Oh, actually, before I drill the holes, you have to sand away at one of the pieces to give it more wiggle room. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but you have to do it. And so you can see I just had a little line and I'm sanding to it, avoiding the main edge there because you want that to remain the same. Okay, so now I'm getting ready to drill the holes, and if I'm as honest as I can be, which I'm trying to be, I didn't have a drill bit that was the right size. I lost it, and so it turns out you can use a nail, and if you spin it, it'll go into wood, even baking soda and super glue, which I was just like, how on earth, this is crazy. So I don't really get it, but it did it, so pretty cool. And that's the wire I use. I got it off of Amazon. I guess you can pause the video if you need to see it some more, and you chuck your wire into the drill, you put a nail into your clamp vise thing and spin it, and just like that you should be given a little line tie or hook hanger. And I believe this is part of the joint making, so you do the same thing. And when that's done, you loop it onto another one. This is, making the joint connections. And you spin it up. Wasn't done there. And it gives you a solid, that's not going to untwist, connection. And I friction fitted it all together. I didn't glue them in there, I just put them in there, and that looks pretty cool. Like, I hope it works, but you never can tell. So this is the actual gluing them in part. And this is sealing it. And I have to confess, I used my finger to spread it this time. I don't like doing that, and I don't know why I did that for the camera, but on everything else I did with it, I used something else to spread it. And then I tested it, and I decided it needed a lip, so I went and cut out a lip slot for it. And then, now I'm painting it already. I taped off the lip, and I am putting white on it, because it gives it a nice base coat. Yep. So now I'm doing pearl white on the belly. Okay, and then I'm doing black on the top. This is not normally the order I would do colors, but for this particular paint scheme, it is. And I'm painting a brown trout. So, in case you were wondering, I looked up how to paint a brown trout fishing lure, and something came up, and I'm following that. So now I'm doing yellow, but not just on the belly, it's just on the lower side of it. And that is a yellow ochre color, I believe. And I'm doing that to give it the darker, browner top, transitioning into that black, which will soon be a green right now. So what I did was I took yellow, and apparently when you paint yellow, over black, it turns it into a nice green. And I'm doing scales, and that is pearl white and just a window mesh that I am holding over it. And it looked pretty cool, even without the spots. And here's the spots. And I thought putting spots on it quickly looks pretty cool, so, whoa, funny frame. Oh, okay, out of that. And like I said, there's lots of editing little things. This new app is gonna take some getting used to. I'm trying to get as much out as I can, but there are some things that I was having a lot of trouble with and I could not figure out that you may have seen a few of those. Oh, I forgot to turn on the camera for this part, but I did white scales, not scales, spots, and then I was doing red on them just because brown trout have that and it looks really cool. And I did some black on the fins and kind of rose, and it looked pretty cool. And that's it for today. It came out wonderfully, I think. The only regret I have is not putting on one of my homemade eyes on there. And, excuse me. It turned out great, and if you liked it, stay tuned for the next one. P.S. Maybe drop a like or something like that. So, yeah. See you next time. Bye.